The review team also discussed the suitability of the current management team, i.e. capability and capacity, and in particular whether Paula Vennells was the right person to hold the CEO position long term. Questions were raised, and it was agreed that a confidential and internal review would be undertaken to assess her suitability. Did you know this was going on?
I don't think so.
Can we look, please, at some slides in the Department's Audit and Risk Committee from February 2014, so that's the next month, UKGI 304 2677. And I think this makes it much clearer that this is not the Post Office.
Okay.
This is,
yes, I think so too.
The department and the shareholder executive. This is the Risk and Assurance Committee, or at least a presentation to it, of February 2014. And can we go to the second page, please? Left-hand column underneath the number 1, advice from the recent annual review suggested that the Post Office team give careful consideration to the continued suitability of Paula Vennells as CEO. There's a general consensus that Paula is no longer the right person to lead the Post Office, but justification is anecdotal. This short paper aims to examine the options available to the shareholder executive. And then on the right-hand side, under why is Paula's position under review at the bottom, the committee was told, however, the 2010 plan, which admittedly was not hers, failed to deliver the expected revenue growth, and the network transformation has required politically awkward revisions to remain deliverable. Paula has not shown an understanding of political considerations, i.e. presentation of plan to ministers, or of the detail of the plan, and she's been unable to work with personalities that provide robust challenge to her. And then there's a third point. Did you know that it was the seemingly the view of a team presenting to the department and the shareholder executive that Ms Vennells had been unable to work with people that provided robust challenges to her?
I don't think I did, no. These papers, when I saw them, were complete news to me.
Was that your view, that Ms Vennells had been unable to work with people who provided robust challenges to her?
No, I don't think that was my view. That there was certainly some tension between Susan Barton, whose name appeared on the previous document, and Paula. I think their working styles were very different. And Susan was, she was a very, very able person, and she did a very, very good job. And she was robust, and I think that there was some tension between the two of them. I'm not aware. I'm just trying. Let me just think about this for a second as to whether I was aware of that sort of tension with other people in her team.
I'm really asking you whether it was your view that Ms Vennells preferred to have yes men and yes women.
No, I don't think that's fair.
Around her, surrounding herself with a coterie of trusted lieutenants, yeah. Mark Davis, Angela Vanden Bogart, Leslie Sewell, for example.
I don't think that would be a fair characterisation.
Did you have any concern that she had been unable to work with people that provided challenges, robust challenges to her?
I didn't have that concern, no.
But if we could turn, please, to the following page, we can see what Ernst & Young said about the consequences of inappropriate privileges or accesses to the system. So in the left-hand column under background, we see that the last paragraph in the first row reads, unrestricted access to privileged IT functions increases the risk of unauthorized, inappropriate access, which may lead to the processing of unauthorized or erroneous transactions. On the face of it, these statements indicated, did they not, that Fujitsu staff had the ability to access parts of the Horizon system in a manner which was unauthorized or inappropriate. Is that fair?
That's my understanding now. I don't think that was my understanding at the time.
It's right, is it not, that that statement was in direct contradiction to what you've been told by Mr. Isbay about the absence of backdoors into the Horizon system, was it not? If it could lead to the processing of unauthorized or erroneous transactions, it couldn't possibly be right that sub-postmasters had complete ownership of their accounting, could it?
No. Again, I'm sure I would not have interpreted this at the time as being a reference to, even a theoretical reference to Fujitsu employees being able to access individual branch accounts. This is talking about the Horizon estate as a whole and a perceived weakness relating to the inappropriate use of privilege access authority. It's a serious matter, but I don't think I'm sure I didn't relate this back to individual sub-postmaster accounts.
What do you think you understood it to mean when it referred to the processing of unauthorized or erroneous transactions?
Well, just that there was a theoretical possibility.
Why was it only theoretical, though? This is saying that they have, as a matter of fact, unrestricted access, that they have inappropriate privileged access. So they did have this access. It wasn't purely theoretical, was it?
Well, it doesn't say how many or how many incidences there had been, whether indeed they'd ever been used, but it's showing that there is a control weakness that could give rise, in theory, to unauthorized transactions broadly within the Horizon Online estate. I can read it completely differently now in the knowledge of hindsight and understand exactly what that could potentially mean in terms of individual branch accounts. But again, it doesn't speak to the suggestion that could be done without a sub-postmaster's visibility of such a transaction.
Let me just ask you, Mr. Day, isn't Ms. Hodge right when she asks you to remove the word theoretically from your answer, in this sense that unauthorized access in the way that Ernst & Young are describing could take place? That wasn't theory. However, there was no evidence that it had taken place.
Yes, I would agree with that, sir.
Right, thank you.